There's a haunting stillness beneath the chaos of Gen V Season 2, the kind that lingers after the screams fade and the blood settles, because, for all the explosions, betrayals, and public takedowns, there's something far quieter and infinitely more terrifying, taking shape inside Marie Moreau. The truth is that Thomas Godolkin never really died, he just changed his host. Thomas Godolkin was never meant to be a teacher. He was a manipulator, a visionary drunk on his own experiment, a man who didn't just want to control superpower, he wanted to sculpt them into obedience. His work on psychic amplification was one of Vought's best-kept secrets, buried beneath the shiny facade of compound V trials. It wasn't just about creating Supes, it was about connecting them, linking their neural pathways, binding them through emotion, trauma, and suggestion. And Marie? She was his favorite subject, even if she never knew it. Born from a batch of experimental serum that combined biomanipulation with psychic resonance, her power to control blood wasn't just physical, it was empathic. Every heartbeat she touches becomes a frequency she can feel. Every pulse carries an echo of consciousness. When she made her first cut as a child, the walls didn't just tremble. Something answered. That something was Godolkin. In Gen V's early moments, Marie's powers seemed like punishment, a curse tied to her trauma. But by the midpoint of Season 2, we start to see the shape of a deeper infection. Each time she loses control, her blood seems to move on its own, shaping patterns, whispering things that don't belong to her. It's subtle at first. A twitch in her vision, a voice that sounds like memory, but sharper, colder. Then, the whispers start forming words. Not random, precise, commanding. That's when Cypher, ever the manipulator, starts noticing something. Marie's emotional triggers don't match her decisions. She's fighting someone inside her mind, someone who knows her better than she does. That's because Thomas Godolkin's consciousness didn't fully die when the school fell. His research into psychic projection, Project Odessa, left fragments of his mind scattered through the students he experimented on. Neural ghosts wired through their abilities, waiting to reconnect. And Marie's blood? It's the perfect medium. She's not just controlling life, she's carrying it. Think about what Godolkin wanted: to rewrite humanity's genetic destiny, one experiment at a time. But Vought cut him off before he could finish. His psychic prototypes failed. Subjects died or went insane. So he turned to his bloodline of Supes, the ones genetically closest to his designs. Marie wasn't just randomly gifted with her ability, she was chosen from birth. A child grown from Vought's secret splicing of Godolkin's own DNA with a psychic-enhancing strain of compound V, a living vessel. That's why he spoke to her during her breakdowns. That's why she kept seeing visions of him in her dreams, as though the universe refused to let him go. Because Godolkin wasn't a ghost. He was still there, living inside her veins. When Cypher finds the data logs hidden in Godolkin University's archives, everything changes. The files, dated years before the events of Gen V, detail something called resonance loop protocols. It's a horrifying revelation. Godolkin had mapped the minds of his students into a single network. Their emotions, memories, and fears fed into a psychic hive controlled by a single central consciousness, his own. The goal wasn't mentorship, it was digital immortality. Cypher realizes that the only surviving tether in the network belongs to Marie. Her blood's psychic properties, its ability to sync with emotional frequency, became the conduit that kept the network alive even after the man himself died. So while Marie believes she's breaking free of her trauma, every act of power, every surge of rage, is actually waking him up. Her evolution isn't liberation, it's reactivation. In Episode 7's final scene, Marie stands before the old ruins of the university, a place once filled with students, laughter, and twisted science. The air hums with memory. Cypher warns her not to go in. But she does. She feels the pulse the moment she steps through the gate. It's her own blood calling back to her, resonating through the earth like a buried scream. Then she hears him, Godolkin's voice, low, confident, intimate. Like a father whispering through the walls of her mind. I made you to carry what I could not, to live when I could not. Do you really think that power is yours? It's not just a hallucination. The environment bends around her. Her powers spike, uncontrollable. Cypher's monitors go haywire. her neural patterns split in two. Half Marie, half Godolkin. The blood that once obeyed her begins to resist, shaping itself into forms she doesn't recognize. Faces. Memories that aren't hers. It's not possession in the supernatural sense. It's memory implantation, his psychic architecture fusing with hers, rewriting her identity molecule by molecule. Marie's blood doesn't just carry him, it becomes him. There's something heartbreakingly poetic about it all. Marie Moreau spent her life fighting for autonomy, from her family, from Vought, and from her past. Yet the cruel irony is that she was never her own person to begin with. Every cut she made, every drop of blood she spilled, was one step closer to reviving the man who designed her. And it's not that Godolkin wants to destroy her, he wants to merge. To him, she's the proof of concept, the perfect balance of life and mind, a living synthesis of creator and creation. The tragedy lies in her realization. Defeating him means destroying herself. Episode 8 could very well transform into something psychological rather than physical. The battle won't take place in hallways or laboratories. It will happen in Marie's consciousness. Her mind becomes a landscape of memory and manipulation. We might see her walking through distorted recreations of her childhood home, her sister's face shifting into ciphers, and Godolkin's reflection staring back from mirrors that shouldn't exist. He'll tempt her, not with power, but with belonging. You've always felt alone, Marie. They fear you because your evolution. I can make them understand you. I can make them kneel. But beneath the seduction lies control. Godolkin believes humanity can only be saved through psychic unification. His resurrection isn't about revenge, it's about rewriting the world's collective mind. And Marie, born from his blood and trauma, is the perfect carrier for the signal. When stripped of all the sci-fi language, the conflict becomes painfully human. Marie isn't just fighting her creator, she's fighting the legacy of abuse. Godolkin represents the system that molded her, told her what she could be, and demanded she perform strength on command. He's the embodiment of Vought's God complex. Every Supe carries a piece of that manipulation, but Marie's connection to him makes it literal. Her body is Vought's weapon. Her mind is his lab. The parasite isn't only psychic, it's institutional. That's what makes her potential victory so powerful. Because if she destroys him, she's not just ending a man, she's ending the lineage of control that created her kind in the first place. But if she fails, she becomes the perfect successor. There's an eerie inevitability to how this will end. Cypher will try to sever the psychic tether, probably through experimental tech meant to purge the neural resonance. But as we've seen in the boys' universe, every attempt to cleanse corruption only mutates it further. Marie might have to take a darker route. She'll realize that the only way to destroy the parasite is to turn her power inward, to bleed herself dry, cutting off the psychic network at the source. A sacrifice that mirrors her first trauma but is redefined through choice. Godolkin, in his final moments, will try to reason with her. If you kill me, you kill yourself. You end everything we are, and maybe that's exactly what she'll want. Because freedom, for someone like Marie, might not mean survival. It might mean silence. Even if Marie succeeds, the cost will ripple across the world. The blood she carries isn't just her own. It's the foundation of every psychic experiment Vought ever funded. Her destruction of that link could destabilize other Supes, who unknowingly share the same neural connection. In other words, Godolkin's death might trigger a chain reaction, a collapse of the hidden psychic web he created through Compound V, and that's where the boys comes in. Imagine Homelander suddenly feeling his strength falter, his confidence shatter for a moment. He can't explain it. Imagine the realization that his mind was never truly his own, either, that somewhere, deep inside the chemical structure that made him, the ghost of Thomas Godolkin still hums. That's not just horror, that's legacy. Marie wanted to save people, to make her pain mean something. But now, she's forced to face the truth. She was never the hero of her story. She was the weapon built to end it. Her blood isn't a gift, it's a curse, forged in the name of progress. And if she has to destroy herself to stop the man who made her, it'll be the first truly human act she's ever done. Because the moment Marie bleeds for the last time, when the parasite finally dies with her, the world might just wake up, not freer, but finally aware of what it's been carrying all along. In the end, Marie's journey isn't about vengeance or power. It's about reclaiming the right to exist beyond someone else's design. Thomas Godolkin believed that control was creation. Marie will prove that defiance is too, and maybe, when the blood stops moving and the noise finally fades, she'll look at her reflection one last time and whisper, "You never made me."